I'm Liyana Hassanel and Nightline begins now. The top stories. Chicken shortage expected to be resolved by June. And PAC urges special audit on government's pandemic-related expenditure. Good morning. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob met his Japanese counterpart, Fumio Kishida, in Tokyo on Friday and proposed that Malaysia-Japan ties be upgraded to Comprehensive Strategic Partnership, CSP. He said this during his first face-to-face meeting with Kishida since they both assumed their posts last year. The meeting between both leaders to strengthen the long-established Malaysia-Japan relationship was held at the Kante, the Japanese Prime Minister's office. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri, who was accompanied by a high-profile delegation, arrived at 5:55 p.m. local time before proceeding to hold the bilateral talks with Kishida for nearly an hour. The meeting was held in conjunction with Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri's official working visit to Japan. Both Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri and Kishida had earlier held the Japan-Malaysia conference via telephone on April 20th this year, which saw the two leaders touching on various regional and international issues. Previously, Malaysia-Japan ties had been upgraded from enhanced partnership to strategic partnership in 2015. This year marks the 40th anniversary of the Look East policy, which has contributed greatly to strengthening bilateral ties between Malaysia and Japan. Meanwhile, Malaysia and Japan also finalized 3 Memoranda of Cooperation, MOC, related to the aircraft industry, skilled workers as well as youth and sports. The exchange of the MOCs was also witnessed by Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri and Kishida. The aircraft industry MOC, led by the International Trade and Industry Ministry, was a collaboration between Malaysia and Japan to strengthen aerospace activities, including maintenance, repair and overhaul, MRO, as well as aerospace downstream activities. Another MOC led by the Human Resources Ministry was related to sending over 1,000 Malaysian skilled workers to gain work experience and expertise in Japan, so that they will be able to contribute to related industries in Malaysia when they return. The third MOC undertaken by the Youth and Sports Ministry is related to youth exchange and development as well as sports. Earlier on Friday, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri met top Japanese business leaders in a private business session in Tokyo. The session was held in order to explore further potentials for investment, as well as the expansion of existing businesses in Malaysia. The business leaders were from Mitsubishi Power Limited Company, Japan-Malaysia Economic Association, Jamaica, Rosmah Co. Limited Company, and Mitsui Fudosan and Co. Limited Company. Each was represented by the chairman, president, and chief executive officer of their respective companies. The business leaders, among other points of discussion, updated their operations and activities in Malaysia to Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri during the meeting. During the session with Rosmah Co. Limited Company, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri also witnessed the letter of incentive approval handover to Rosmah Co. This came following Rosmah Co.'s proposed plans to expand its current semiconductors manufacturing facility in Kota Baru, Kelantan for almost 1 billion ringgit.
Kita telah pun memberikan insentif pengecualian cukai selama 5 tahun kepada syarikat tersebut. Jadi itu antara yang kita bagi pagi tadi.
Mitsubishi Power Limited Company President and Chief Executive Officer Hideshi Kawamoto updated Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri on Mitsubishi's latest high-efficiency gas turbine power solutions. Mitsubishi Power and THB Power are currently jointly developing the latest technology solutions for their power plant in Gurun, Kedah.
The investment itself, in order to provide the operation and maintenance service for our advanced gas turbine, it's really need to talk with local companies in terms of the labor support and in terms of the technician support. And also we'd like to provide our capacity building. So in future we'd like to talk with various possibilities with the local companies in such way.
Meanwhile, during the meeting, Jamaica proposed to organize a Look East policy seminar in August this year to be held in Malaysia. Jamaica President Tsuyoshi Nagano said the association would focus to get Japan and Malaysia's young generation to be on board to continue enhancing the bilateral relationship.
I strongly believe that the two countries' future is very strong, and we have so many things need to do to strengthen the economy in two countries. Especially, I would like to focus on the new generations to create the new relationship between two countries.
Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri also said that Malaysia is committed and welcomes high-quality projects with elements of sustainability, in line with the country's goal of reducing the greenhouse gas impact. Later, the Prime Minister also spent about an hour with top executives and chief executive officers from 23 prominent Japanese companies in a high-profile meet-and-greet session to attract more investments from Japan. In 2021, Japan was Malaysia's fourth largest trading partner, with trade valued at about 149 billion ringgit. And it was also the third largest foreign investor in Malaysia's manufacturing sector for implemented projects valued at about 90.9 billion ringgit. The current chicken shortage is expected to be resolved by June, with the situation in some areas already improving. Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Deputy Minister Datuk Rosal Wahid said this is based on the ministry's monitoring and inspection of the poultry industry, apart from several immediate intervention measures implemented by the government.
Saya bercakap dengan pengeluar yang pun dia kata benda ni mungkin dalam selewat-lewatnya awal bulan 6 benda ni boleh selesai sepenuhnya. Selewatnya awal bulan 6.
Datuk Rosal said the government has also taken drastic measures in addressing the matter, including imposing restrictions on chicken exports and the abolition of food import approved permits AP starting June 1st. On claims of traders selling above the controlled price of 8 ringgit 90 cent per kilogram, Datuk Rosal said consumers could report such incidents in order for authorities to take action, adding that inspections will also be conducted at business premises and on the ground from time to time. Meanwhile, commenting on the burdens faced by the people, particularly by those in the B40 group on the effects of inflation, Datuk Rosal said the government was implementing various short and long-term measures to address it. He said the festive season maximum price control scheme, controlling the prices for chicken and eggs, as well as the provision of subsidies for certain goods, were among the government's efforts to help ease the cost of living. Datuk Rosal said his ministry also cooperated with various other ministries, especially the Agriculture and Food Industry Ministry, to ensure the availability of essential goods and affordable prices through program Jualan Keluarga Malaysia. The Parliamentary Special Select Committee on the Amendments to the Constitution regarding the prohibition on members of the Dewan Rakyat from changing political parties has reached a consensus on all policy matters on the drafting of the anti-party hopping bill. One of its members, Lukanisman Awang Sauni, who is also Sibuti Member of Parliament, however, said that the committee will need to meet again soon before the bill can be finalised. He added that the committee was in the final phase of preparing the bill, which then will be tabled and debated in a special sitting of the Dewan Rakyat to be determined later. The lawmaker also said a two-thirds majority is needed to pass the amendment to the Constitution. On Thursday, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar, said he is hopeful that the much-anticipated anti-party hopping bill could be tabled in the Dewan Rakyat in July this year. If approved, the law could be gazetted latest by January next year. The Parliament's Public Accounts Committee, PAC, has urged the National Audit Department to immediately conduct a special audit on the government's procurement and expenditure for medical equipment and medicine during the COVID-19 pandemic. Its chairman, Wong Kah-Woh, said the matter had been officially informed to the Auditor General on Thursday. In a statement on Friday, Wong said as a Dewan Rakyat Select Committee with a mandate to examine government spending so that it complies with the law, the PAC will not compromise with any party trying to make a profit for the sake of personal interests. He added that the special audit should be expedited, with the findings and results presented to the PAC. This is so that the committee can identify the existence of elements of malpractice, waste, and abuse of power in the procurement of medical services. He also said with the special audit, the PAC would call on the Finance Ministry, the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC, and the ministries and agencies involved to provide briefings and explanations to the committee on the matter. On Tuesday, MACC Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azam Baki was reported to have said that the agency was conducting investigations into alleged corrupt practices during the COVID-19 pandemic. This included the procurement of medical equipment and medicine, abuse of power in diverting aid, as well as stimulus packages provided by the government. The remaining 19 of the 35 work packages under Phase 1 of the Pan-Borneo Highway project in Sabah will be implemented using allocations from the federal government. Senior Works Minister Datuk Sri Fadilah Yusof said his ministry will not implement the project through the Private Finance Initiative, PFI, as proposed by the state government in order to speed up the project.
Pertama sekali kita nak membawa semua pegawai kanan kementerian dan juga agensi pelaksana kita termasuk JKR Malaysia dan JKR Sabah di peringkat tinggi Sabah ini untuk meninjau sendiri jalan-jalan yang dalam pembinaan dan juga penyelenggaraan, dan pada masa yang sama kita akan dapat meninjau hasil daripada feedback, maklum balas dan juga aduan orang ramai, dan kita sendiri nak melihat setakat mana kebenaran aduan dan apakah tindakan yang boleh kita ambil dengan keadaan semasa, termasuk jugalah dari segi peruntukan, dari segi perancangan di peringkat negeri dan juga perancangan jangka panjang dan jangka sederhana yang sedang kita langsungkan.
Earlier, he inspected Work Package 27, which involved work to upgrade the road from Kampung Lot M to Batu 32 Sandakan, spanning 18.1 kilometres, in conjunction with the Ministry of Works FT Roadpedia tour on Friday. Datuk Sri Fadilah said the entire Phase 1 of the project in Sabah is expected to be ready in the next 5 years. On the maintenance of damaged roads in Sabah, he said his ministry will always strive to ensure that public infrastructure, especially damaged roads, is repaired for the safety of road users. According to him, a total of 47,223 potholes in Sabah have been patched up, especially on federal roads from 2019 to April 2022. And there are also roads in Sabah that require resurfacing work. The FT Roadpedia tour, which started on Friday and will last until May 29th, is being held to check the status of the Sabah Pan-Borneo Highway construction project and address issues related to maintenance of federal roads. Malaysia needs to promote domestic direct investments, DDI, as aggressively as foreign direct investments, FDI, as both are equally important in supporting the nation's economic growth. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Economy, Datuk Sri Mustafa Mohamad, said striking the right balance between both forms of investment is essential as they complement one another.
The recently concluded survey by the NCCIM has shed some light on the issues and challenges surrounding DDIs in our country. These include a weak investment climate, the uncertain global environment, and high operating costs.
He added that Malaysia will continue to collaborate closely with the private sector to create more efficient business environment for both domestic and foreign investors, in line to achieve the high-income nation status by 2025. Before the pandemic began, private investments grew by 4.8% per annum from 2016 to 2019. However, it tumbled by 11.9% in 2020, before rebounding moderately to 2.6% in 2021. Russian shelling intensifies in the Donbas region. The details when we return. we're back with news from the foreign front. Russia on Friday pressed its deadly offensive to capture key points in the eastern Donbas region of Ukraine, with more bombing of residential areas and pro-Moscow forces claiming the capture of a key town on the way to Kyiv-controlled territory. It was reported that 9 people were killed in shelling of Ukraine's second-largest city of Kharkiv Friday, raising fears that Russia had not lost interest in the northeastern hub, even after Ukraine took back control following fierce battles. Besides that, around 10 people were also killed in Russian strikes on a military facility in the central Ukrainian city of Dnipro, well away from the front line of the offensive. 3 months after Russia launched its invasion on February 24th, Moscow is now focusing on the east of Ukraine after failing in its initial ambition to capture Kyiv. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky reiterated accusations that Moscow was carrying out a genocide in Donbas, saying its bombardment could leave the entire region uninhabited. A World Health Organization (WHO) senior official on Friday said that the priority needs to be containing monkeypox in non-endemic countries, saying that this can be achieved through quick action. WHO Director for Global Infectious Hazard Preparedness, Sylvie Bryant, stressed that there was a window of opportunity to prevent further spread, urging the general public not to worry since transmission is much slower than other viruses such as the coronavirus. Monkeypox, typically a mild viral infection, is endemic in the African countries, but its spread to non-endemic countries such as in Europe and the United States has raised concerns. So far, there are more than 200 confirmed or suspected cases in around 20 countries where the virus was not previously circulating. The organization stated that there was no need for mass vaccination at present, but targeted vaccination were available for close contacts of people infected. In Indonesia, an earthquake of a magnitude 6.4 struck off the coast of East Timor on Friday, which forced the Indian Ocean Tsunami Warning and Mitigation System (IOTWMS) to issue a tsunami warning for the region. According to the Indonesian Meteorology and Geophysics Agency, the quake struck at 9:36 a.m. local time, with the epicenter at 85 kilometers southwest of Maluku Barat Daya district, with a depth of 104 kilometers. It was reported there were no immediate reports of damage or casualties, but witnesses said the quake was felt strongly. The tremors were also felt in the nearby province of East Nusa Tenggara and the neighboring country of Timor-Leste. Australian media reports said that the earthquake was also felt by residents in the Australian city of Darwin, more than 700 kilometers away.
Crazy. Look, this stuff all on this car right here. It's insulation from their house. All on this. Yeah. From the houses. Whole house is blew up.
sports, football now. Malaysia demonstrated their superiority as they claimed a convincing 4-0 win over Brunei in an international friendly on Friday night. Shafiq Ahmad opened the scoring for the national side after 15 minutes as he had at home V. Ruventhiran's corner kick before Muhammad Shamir Kuti Abba doubled the lead just before the break following a 1-2 move with Faisal Halim. Faisal then turned goal scorer 5 minutes into the second half, finishing off Guilherme de Pola's accurate pass. The Kimpangons men rounded off their fine performance with their fourth 9 minutes before the final whistle, when de Pola converted a spot kick after Muhammad Akir Rashid was brought down inside the area. The Harimau Malaya will next play against Hong Kong in another friendly match on June 1st. On to tennis. Leylah Fernandez came out on top against Belinda Bencic in a marathon battle, lasting just shy of 3 hours at the French Open on Friday. The Canadian US Open finalist won 7-5, 3-6, 7-5 to reach the round of 16 at Roland Garros for the first time. The Canadian, who won the Roland Garros girls title in 2019, saved 2 set points in the first set and came back from an early breakdown in the decider. Fernandez will next face Anna Anisimova, who benefited from the retirement of Karolina Muchova. The Czech had won the first set, but after rolling her ankle in the second, she was forced to abandon the match with Anisimova, leading 6-7, 6-2, 3-0. After this breather, 2 men remanded in Funeral Services Graph probe. Stay tuned. Welcome back. A fun outing for 3 members of a family turned into a tragedy when one of them drowned while 2 more went missing in Sungai Pasir Klang in Kuala Krai, Kelantan on Friday afternoon. The trio, 2 girls and a boy, all Thai nationals, aged between 12 and 15, were swimming in the river when the 5 p.m. incident occurred. It was believed that the victims were swept away by strong currents. Police said another family member who witnessed the incident while fishing on a riverbank nearby immediately alerted the authorities, who then launched a search and rescue operation. The body of the first victim, 15-year-old Miss Nikila, was found not long after that at 6:30 p.m. Her remains were then taken to Kuala Krai Hospital for postmortem. However, due to low visibility, the search for the 2 remaining victims, Miss Kunabila and Mastani Hadley, aged 15 and 13 respectively, has been halted temporarily and will be resumed on Saturday morning. Datin Sri Rosmah Mansoor has failed in a final bid to nullify her corruption trial over the hybrid solar project in Sarawak and to remove Datuk Sri Gopal Sriram as the lead prosecutor in the case. A 3-member bench led by Federal Court Judge Datuk Sri Muhammad Zawawi Saleh made the ruling on the grounds that the criminal court had no jurisdiction to grant the declaratory relief sought by Datin Sri Rosmah. In the unanimous decision, Justice Datuk Sri Muhammad Zawawi said there were written laws such as the Courts of Jurisdiction Act 1964 and that the rules of Court 2012 only conferred inherent power to the civil court. Earlier, the Apex Court also dismissed Datin Sri Rosmah's preliminary objection on whether it was proper for Datuk Sri Gopal Sri Ram to represent the prosecution in the proceedings after it did not find any evidence of conflict of interest. The 70-year-old Datin Sri Rosmah had appealed against the Court of Appeal's decision on December 6th, rejecting her application to nullify her entire trial in an effort to be freed of all 3 charges and to remove Datuk Sri Gopal Sri Ram as the lead prosecutor in the case. In Selangor, 2 assistant health officers were nabbed in an ongoing crackdown by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission against a cartel soliciting and accepting bribes for funeral arrangement services. Both men aged 40 and 42 were arrested at the Selangor MACC headquarters on Thursday, where they were called to have their statements recorded. The suspects attached to the hospital in the state had allegedly solicited and accepted 300 ringgit in kickbacks for each funeral arrangement. It is learned the suspects raked in a total of 15,000 ringgit in kickbacks each between 2018 and 2021. Both suspects have been remanded for 5 days to assist in a probe into their case, which is being investigated under Section 17(a) of the MACC Act. A rare 1955 Mercedes Uhlenhaut Coupe has become the most expensive car after being auctioned off for £135 million recently. Only 2 Uhlenhaut Coupes were made by Mercedes-Benz and were named after their chief engineer, Rudolf Uhlenhaut. Let's take a look as we wrap up Nightline this time around. And with that, I'm Liyana Hassanel. Thank you for watching and stay safe, Malaysia.